I taught a trick to my shadow to stick to the tip of my toe. I've got a crow.
Fuck you, science.
Okay, can we start? I want tacos.
Speaking of tacos, welcome. We are, as always, your franchise friends. I'm Tyler Costo, and as always, I'm joined with the beautiful
Kate Strollo.
Oh.
Hey.
I'm gonna add like children clapping, like yay, Kate Strollo. I promise I'll have a better adjective for you next time, where it's not just the beautiful. I don't mean the like.
Do you mean adjective?
What did I say?
Objective.
Yeah, that's what I meant. This week, we had the pleasure of seeing some fun movies for once. It was fun. But before we get into our covering topic of Sausage Party and the 21-22 Jump Street universe, have you seen any good movies this week?
Well, you and I had the opportunity to go to the Sausage Party premiere. What a ratchet time that was.
That was
Sony really knew how to hit their target market with that pre-party. Most premieres that we've gone to, just to give you listeners some context, have been the normal Hollywood song and dance, nice dress, very calm and collected. Sony took the approach of hosting the premiere on UCLA's college campus with a ton of free hot dogs and a ton of free PBR.
A ton of free PBR.
A ton of free PBR.
Yeah, I think that was one of the funnest things we've done yet with our premiere passes, because just having those hot dogs from, what was the company called?
Doghouse.
Doghouse. Thank you so much.
Well, fun
Specifically,
fact, because I made friends with the guy who was handing out said hot dogs. It was actually a sausage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because, Sausage Party. So it was actually a sausage in, like, this really dope bread with a ton of crap on top of it.
Delicious. Okay, so Doghouse.
Doghouse.
Okay, we're going to be giving them all the plugs because we want them to send us coupons at the least. Doghouse, you got an A+. It was delicious.
A+ dogs.
I wasn't expecting to eat anything, and I ate like 4 hot dogs.
We housed them. We drank a lot of PBR. I yelled at Paul Rudd that I liked his mustache. I don't know if he heard me.
That was the other crazy part. We were a couple feet away from huge Hollywood stars.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd, just like doing his Ant-Man thing, giving us all the thumbs up. It's kind of funny because I saw the look at his face. I'm sure this is a lot of fun for him. Like, these are his roots. This is where he comes from, the comedy background. But right now, I feel he is so big that showing up for a premiere of a Seth Rogen movie is like, eh.
To be fair, there was a lot of really big stars in that movie.
There were. That
There was
shows
a
like
lot of big
all
stars. Yeah.
Their powerhouse friendship of, think about that. If everyone you know is an A celeb,
Hey, you got to bring the homies on the come up,
it was probably so easy to get people to do this movie too. Because, all right, well, we'll jump into Sausage Party. I'm already about to dive in. But I was just going to say, like, you only need a couple of days to record someone's voice. They don't have to do anything physical. Hey, man, do you want to make a couple bills? Come over here to our sound recording studio. We'll record you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new Seth Rogen script. But that was a lot of fun. I will say.
Yeah.
What do you think about the theater? Where was it? It was at the UCLA campus.
Yeah, it was on UCLA. It was Bruin, I believe, Bruin. So I'm going to assume that's pronounced Bruin. There's 2 theaters. There was one which I'm going to assume was a nice theater that had the talent and the people who actually worked on the film. And then the other theater was for people like us.
The other theater was from hell.
Yeah, that wasn't that nice of a theater.
Ratchet.
I mean, to be fair, we basically just came from a college block party and were shuffled into this theater to watch a movie. So I don't blame them for their choice.
Even that being said, the crowd was insane. I don't know if it was the PBR, but
that PBR.
Do you remember Scream? I mean, Scream 2.
Yeah.
Do you remember the opening where everyone's freaking the fuck out at the world premiere of the movie Stab?
Yeah.
It felt like that. People were screaming, throwing shit. They had coolers that looked like they were from a 4th of July party from the 90s out with PBR in them. The second people would dump PBR into the bucket, swarms of audience members came over like pigeons or rats, just like collecting it. I know this because I was one of the people grabbing like 3 cans because I was like, there's no way I'm getting through this movie without a drink or two. But it was a wild scene.
Yeah, and honestly, you know what? Good for them. They took care of their patrons. They got them liquored up. They fed us really well. We had a great experience, and now we're talking very positively about their movie.
Can we also mention the great experience of having had to have been no older than 10-year-old sitting in front of us?
Oh God, that was awkward as hell.
I
felt so uncomfortable, especially during that final scene, and I'm not going to give away spoilers, but for people who have seen Sausage Party, there was a 10-year-old child sitting in front of me during the entire final bit, and definitely was a little uneasy at that.
I kept nudging you throughout the entire movie.
It's just like, look at this
and
child.
I would just
He's
point
right there.
at the child and say, this is what's making this movie, because it was mind-bleaching. It was a fun movie.
And you know what? To be fair, my mom definitely took me to see the South Park movie when I was 8, I guess, at this point, because she really wanted to see it. And going back and watching that now, that's also raunchy as hell.
I could see your mom doing that. That's
Yeah,
funny.
my mom definitely did that. She loves South Park.
I remember getting turned away from the first Scary Movie because my brother tried to get me into it. We went to 3 different movie theaters and they wouldn't let us in.
I thought you had to if you were with someone who was over 18.
They kept saying that wasn't enough. I think my brother was right at the age and they didn't believe him.
Yeah. I could see that
It was
happening.
weird. Well, nowadays it's
They're just like, give us your goddamn
I
money,
got my
please.
9-year-old
Please, we're
niece in to
struggling.
see. Yeah, I got my 9-year-old.
We really don't give a shit about your kid. We just need the money, thanks.
Yeah, I got my 9-year-old niece in to see. What was it? Paranormal Activity, the Ghost Dimension.
Yeah, and The Conjuring.
Oh,
We
and
got
The
her into
Conjuring,
too.
Oh my. Oh, by the way, we saw Paul Rudd at the screening of The Conjuring 2.
Seen
So.
Paul Rudd 2 times. Maybe, hey, third time's a charm.
Well, before we get too far into Sausage Party, why don't we move on to this week in movie news? Movie news. Say it with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Movie news!
News from the movies. This week in movie news, we had some really good trailers.
Yeah, we had the Rogue One trailer, and we had the Rogue One International trailer.
Yep.
I personally preferred the international one.
I personally don't understand why we have 2 cuts of trailers.
Well, for different international markets, they respond to...
Oh, they like better trailers? Is that... So for
Maybe.
the American, we can't handle one more set. There only seemed to be like one difference.
There's different music.
Yeah.
One had the Imperial March, and another one had one of the different soundtracks. There's different dialogue. And in the international trailer, they hinted that Jin, I believe her name is pronounced Jin, her father was the one that sent the transmission about the Death Star. Which I thought was cool. I like that tiny little tidbit of information. I don't know why they didn't put that in the US trailer.
Yeah, it's confusing. Maybe they're trying to save it as a surprise, but that doesn't make sense. I feel like nowadays there's no real point because everyone has the internet. Everyone's gonna see each cut of every trailer. I get the whole marketing, different audiences,
Yeah.
different message. But this movie looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this.
Gareth Edwards has come a long way, in my opinion. I was not the biggest fan of Monsters. He made a short, I mean, not a short, but a small production small budget feature film, got picked up to do Godzilla, which is a lukewarm subject for most people. I think the more I see his Godzilla, I enjoy it. I don't know if you've seen it since we saw it in the theater.
I've not.
It's better going into it knowing what to expect than that tension, that false film that you thought you were going to see. Because we were all expecting a movie with Bryan Cranston heavily in it. We wanted this whole big monster movie, and it was constantly teasing itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People wanted action and destruction and were like a big monster movie, and it ended up being very character driven.
And I think he does a good job with characters. That's why I'm really excited for this Star Wars.
Yeah, like I think that's perfect. You know, you to get to know this band of rebels that are getting together, and kind of how the Imperial Army became the Imperial Army going into A New Hope.
We're just seeing what like the threat they were like before Star Wars. Like seeing what a threat the Imperial Army was. I'm not gonna lie, this might be one of the biggest movies I've ever been excited for. Because if this movie's pulled off right, we're gonna have such a huge
Hope it is.
plethora of different types of movies in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, there's so many things
Which
you could
as a
do.
kid, as a kid,
So
I was
many.
so excited for. And this is such a cool idea because it's a contained story. It's not episodic. Whatever happens in this movie, there's not going to be a Rogue One 2.
Yeah.
A Rogue One
They
3.
can't make a franchise out of this one.
You're already in it. Yeah. This is the story of Rogue One. This is what happened. It's done. That's very exciting. And I don't know if it's us moving to LA, but seeing AT-ATs walk around palm trees
Yeah.
is so cool.
Yeah, I'm curious the locations that they got for this. Well, in the Star Wars universe, like what these new locations are going to be, and be able to get introduced to all of those.
There's already memorable quotes from the trailer. I love that all is as the Force compels it,
Yeah.
or the Force wills it.
So this is my question too. I'm very curious to see how they approach this subject. You know, in the fourth one, A New Hope, basically no one believes in the Force. The Jedis are myths. There's no, like, it's just like this magical myth thing. So I'm wondering if that's how they're going to approach it in Rogue One, since all of the Jedis are quote unquote killed and been taken care of. You know, this one guy, is he kind of like, oh, he's the crazy old man that still believes in the Force?
I think...
Do you know, I'm probably explaining this in a very weird way.
No, I get what you're
Right.
saying, but I think at that point it's still too early because at the end of Revenge of the Sith, we end with a shot of the Death Star being constructed.
Yeah.
So the time from Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope would only be about Luke's age, because Luke was a little baby boy in that movie.
Yeah.
So in the movie, how old is Luke supposed to be? Anywhere between 18 to 24.
I was, maybe even a little bit younger, maybe like 18 to like 21, 22, because he's still very young. So I think Rogue One is like between
I don't-
15 and 17-ish
Yeah.
years later.
I don't think it's enough time for them to forget about what. Well,
See, that's the thing, because there's going to be
Yeah.
people old enough to have been around when the Jedi were still a thing,
I
and
guess if
were
that
still very
were to go
prominent.
away, yeah.
So I'm curious as to how they're going to approach that.
And there is
Like-
even a quote in A New Hope where one of the generals says to Darth Vader, "Oh, you and your ancient religion." When
It's
he's
funny,
talking
it's
about,
not even
I
that
feel the
ancient.
Force. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, this was like, this was your government 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's as if we were to say, well, George Bush wasn't real.
Yeah.
He was just a cartoon character.
Yeah.
No, he was real. He was really the president. No. He was a Looney Tune. We drew him up. We put him on the television.
pretty believable.
No, he was the president during like mass. No. Looney Tune. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's the same.
Yeah, so I'm just curious as to how the Force and the myth of the Jedi are going to be approached in this movie.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting. Imagine seeing characters that liked Jedi. Like,
Or if there's going to be some sort of censorship where it's like you will go to jail if you even like mention Jedi or Force or something.
And it's probably exactly like
obviously
that.
it was controlled at some point. If you have Han Solo and A New Hope saying, "Oh, Jedi, it's a myth." No, obviously there was some sort of censorship of what that religion or lifestyle was.
I think it just became a joke where the Force was considered, oh, that was defeated. That's nothing.
Yeah.
We are the rulers. And that's kind of, you bring up an awesome point. Rogue One could have a really cool underlining with these characters who still believe in the Jedi way. Because Jedi slaughter is still fresh on everyone's mind. Imagine if all of the good police officers were just slaughtered overnight.
Yeah.
In 20 years from now, people would still remember the important ones.
Yeah.
So,
but you're censored and you can't speak about them.
You can't talk about it. You can't say anything. And there were heroes at one point. At one point in the past, there were people looking out for you. That's a great... Didn't even think about that. You're blowing my mind right now. I can't even form regular sentences. You're doing great. The only other trailer that I can really think of that came out this week is Arrival. I'm very excited for it. I haven't seen the trailer yet because I think this is the first movie where I'm going to say I'm not going to look at as much promotional material as I should.
I think you're going to cave.
I know. I'm going to watch it.
The trailer is incredible. I've actually watched it several times. I even watched it earlier today.
Wait, really?
Yeah. And it's funny, I'm not a big Amy Adams fan. I think she's a good actress. I just don't like her that much. But I really like her in this trailer. And I'm pumped.
We'll see what she does.
Pumped. You got Lois Lane and Hawkeye taking down the aliens. Good for you, Jeremy Renner.
Oh, my God. The weakest links versus Independence Day.
God, this is the second podcast where we've just talk shit.
Oh, but this is the thing. I love Jeremy Renner.
I know, I do too, Jeremy. We love you.
God.
I know.
I just think that
He's
being not wasted. I'm sure it's a nice paycheck.
I
and
know.
fun to do, but he's a good actor and
I know.
should do more roles.
I hope he has a prominent role in
exciting.
this.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Okay,
he seems to play a big part. So I hope he can come in, do his thing, and show the world that he's more than Hawkeye or
Hawkeye or
what was the
Lois Lane?
No, I was going to say his name from the Bourne series.
Oh, Baby Born?
Baby Bourne.
Still
You
Born.
got it. Okay, still
And on that note, why don't we just move into what we were going to say earlier? What were your expectations for Sausage Party?
I knew I was going to be entertained. Seth Rogen movies are usually, to me, very funny. In the moment, they're a good movie to watch with friends, but they're never really quite memorable. This was actually pretty memorable to me. I liked it. It's definitely something I'd watch again. I don't know if I'd go out and necessarily buy the movie, but if we're hanging out with friends or I just need a good laugh, I liked it. I think they did a really good job with this. I like the writing.
Yeah.
It had undertones to it where obviously it was a very cheesy movie, but it had those religious undertones and
I think,
I liked it.
Yeah, I feel going into it, you know what you're getting. It's a Seth Rogen movie. It's that raunchy comedy to the max, but
yeah,
after this whole summer, I
Yeah.
would guarantee, I would 100% just recommend go seeing this as just a fun, laugh out loud thing.
Yeah, I thought this movie was definitely top 3 of the summer for sure.
We'll get into that on our summer
Definitely.
podcast coming up.
Oh,
But
yeah. So that's going to lead us into our franchise of the week.
Franchise friends!
As you guys know, Jonah Hill is in Sausage Party, and he's also in the upcoming movie with Miles Teller, War Dogs. There's also been lots and lots of talk ever since the infamous Sony tax of a cross-collaboration between the Jump Street world and the Men in Black 3 world, which has been bubbling up so nicely in the press recently. So, on that note, long-winded response, we're going to bring you the 21-22 Jump Street series.
Yay! I love these movies.
They're amazing.
I did not think I would like them going into them. Had no reason to really think that, just had no interest seeing them. I remember each time that I watched these movies because I am laughing out of my seat. Love it.
Yeah, and I think it's almost like similar to a Sausage Party case of me. We're going into it, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a few good laughs, blah, 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 but the dialogue was just always so goddamn on point. The acting was amazing. That's the movie that made me realize that Channing Tatum wasn't just a...
Yes.
Or Channing Tatum wasn't just
Channing
a...
Tatum.
This is the movie
From
that
Jazzy.
really...
Channing Tatum. Oh my gosh. Give me my smokes. It's Channing Tatum on the TV. Channing Tatum. I need my camels. Go on.
This is the movie that made me realize that Channing Tatum actually was a really funny guy and could do comedy.
Yeah.
I really only had known him from the Step Up movies and just thought he was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man.
So you
but,
watched the Step Up movies.
Actually, no. I've seen a couple
But
bits
you
and pieces.
knew him from the Step Up movies.
Well, yeah. Like, look at that. Look
So
at
you
him.
just followed that. I only really knew him from the G.I. Joe movie.
I never saw that.
I remember when I worked at Target many moons ago. I just really know him from Channing Tatum. I mean, I know him being Channing Tatum, and I know him from G.I. Joe. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, I thought he was hilarious. I thought he did a great
Yeah.
job. I think him and Jonah Hill had amazing chemistry.
Had Magic Mike come out by this time? No.
I don't think it did. I don't know by the first one.
Yeah, so what is Channing Tatum? Oh my God, I said it. What is Channing Tatum known for? What did,
like right in this time,
even right now,
2016.
Jupiter Ascending.
I think honestly, like Magic
Watch
Mike
the-
and the Jump Street series,
Jupiter Ascending.
and Jupiter Ascending, obviously.
Listen to Cutprint Films Jupiter Ascending cover. But no, he was also, what was that movie? It was done by the same guy that directed Magic Mike. I
I'm on
can't
it.
think of it.
I'm on it. Hold on. No, I don't want to submit this form again.
It was about pills. His wife was a dumb bitch.
He's in the Dear John. I remember
No.
hearing about that, but not caring enough.
Yeah.
Hail Caesar.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, he was in White House Down.
Yeah, he was like, you're thinking of Olympus Has Fallen.
No, White House Down.
Are you thinking of Olympus Has Fallen
No,
now in your
he's
mind?
in Foxcatcher.
Yeah, he's big in. Oh, that's right. Oh, and the Hateful Eight, he's in. Okay, anyway. All right, we've obviously gone off rail.
Yeah.
But even right now, Channing Tatum, he has these small bit parts, and we haven't. I think he is going to be a mega movie star that we'll see years from now.
Yeah.
He's showing his range in this movie. I never thought of him as a comedic actor. And then seeing this, like, just his deliveries, you want to see more
Yeah.
of him. You want to see a whole show with him. I want to see a Netflix series where he's just a wisecracking cop or something.
Yeah.
It's he makes 22 Jump Street.
Yeah, I like him in a role like this much better than the action movies he's done.
Mm-hmm.
I think my all-time favorite role is obviously Magic Mike, but I think, but that's more of a
franchise
comedic.
for the future.
Yeah, coming up on our broadcast of Ladies. Be sure to tune in for that one. No boys allowed.
That just means everyone keeps telling me to watch Magic Mike. Maybe I will.
You should.
Nah, I'm good.
You should.
Maybe.
It's a good movie. There's
do
zero
watch
plot. It's great.
No, I heard the first one is actually a good movie.
The second one's better. There's no plot to it.
Got it.
We didn't come here for the plot. And they know that.
And also the other... I like how I just continue talking, ignore you. We get it. Everybody loves Shannon Tatum. Let's move on to Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill. I thought he did a really great job. I love Jonah Hill. I think he's a great actor. I think his delivery is always just so goddamn spot on.
Yeah.
I really like him.
That's what a lot of this movie comes down to. Just the spot on deliveries, the
dialogue is just so on point.
Dialogue
the
is
movie
on point.
doesn't take itself seriously at all, but it works really well for them. They understand that it's just making fun of buddy cop franchise type movies.
To a T though. Even the meta jokes by Ron Swanson in the beginning, where for some reason the department thinks throwing money at contrived ideas from the 1980s will rejuvenate our department and make it more successful. And you understand that, or whatever he says, you understand that that's a joke on the movie itself. It's a remake of a 1980s thing that they're trying to cash in on.
Yeah, exactly.
The writing is brilliant. That's why I love BoJack Horseman. It's the similar, in-your-face, obvious metaphors for what's happening in the real world, and just also off-the-wall comedy.
Yeah. And I think it worked. It worked really well. I think a lot of movies try to not take themselves so seriously, and it ends up just coming off as really cheesy and really corny. But I think due to the cast that they got,
and the
they
writers
were just able to pull it off so well and make it seem so natural.
Yeah, I think these guys who were behind the entire film. Hold on, I want to see what else they're doing.
No, do your research.
I know they're doing something. I think they're doing the Lego Batman movie.
That would make sense.
Or they did the Lego movie. Yeah. Yeah. These are the guys that went on to do the Lego movie, which is also just a brilliant comedy movie.
Yeah.
Just so much fun. And I don't think anyone really expected much going into seeing this movie, and everyone was blown away.
So good. Yeah.
It's fucking fun to watch. What's your favorite scene from the first movie?
The first movie?
Yeah, 21 Jump Street. Let's go favorite scenes and favorite moments, or whatever. Favorite scenes.
I think my favorite scene from the first movie is when they finally get a lead on the drug dealer, and Jonah Hill's character is about to go out and be Peter Pan for his play. Yeah. And Channing Tatum's character is like, "No, man, we gotta go. We gotta go get this drug dealer." So they have that whole high-speed chase that's just so cliche, and they keep thinking that things are gonna blow up. And Channing Tatum's character even at one point goes, "How did that blow up?" Oh, you know what it was? It was finally the little chicken cart. You see the chicken turn around, and go, "Burp," and it blows up, and he goes, "Jesus Christ, that's what finally blew up."
I love that movie. In that chase scene, they're being chased by bikers, and they keep stealing different cars, and they keep saying, "Look at the glove compartment, look for a gun." And on the big dude's car, there wasn't a gun. Then they steal this chick's like pink car, and Channing Tatum's like, "Look at the glove compartment. There's not going to be a gun." Jonah Hill pulls out. He's like, "Oh shit, it's a gun." and it's just moments like that. It keeps bringing back jokes, and like what you were describing, where each time you would expect a giant explosion, nothing would happen, so they would have to keep running and being on the chase.
Yeah.
And then finally, the smallest thing makes that chicken coop thing explode. You're like, really? That's what blew up? Just Channing Tatum's delivery at that moment. It's not even like, oh God, something's. It's just, oh, really? That?
Yeah.
It's so much fun. I think that's another testament to the writing in this movie. A lot of things come back. The idea that Jonah Hill's character is not good at being a physical police officer. He doesn't take the shot. He's never jumping in front of bullets, but he's smart. He's a lot smarter than Channing Tatum's. It's that yin and yang, which is a huge component of the second movie.
Yes.
The whole idea of yin and yang.
Yeah.
And that's what these two are. You have, not to say Jonah Hill is unattractive, you have Channing Tatum, the tall, muscular, every woman want. Then Jonah Hill, the average man, we're not all Channing Tatum. We might connect a little more with the Jonah Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of characters in the Jump
Ramble on.
Street series,
Yeah.
can we talk about the absolute best person in that movie?
Oh, you mean the greatest actor on earth?
And the
Dave
greatest-
Franco. I'm kidding, everyone.
Not only the greatest actor, but the greatest rapper and one of the greatest businessmen to ever exist.
I want to say Dave Franco again, but I know who you mean.
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
Holy shit, I love Ice Cube.
Yeah.
I love him. Everything he does, everything he's ever done is just gold to me. I will listen to all of his music. I will watch all of his movies.
He's just so funny in these movies too.
And going into what our favorite scene was in the second movie, I love the luncheon that they have at the university. This is right after he finds out that Jonah Hill's character slept with his daughter. And she introduces him like, Dad, this is the guy that I've been seeing. And he just ends up.
It's just that moment of, oh, this is bullshit. And he's
It just destroys the buffet and is like just throwing shit everywhere. But because he's Ice Cube, he does it so well. And you as a movie viewer are fucking terrified.
Oh my God.
And he does it so well. And that's just one of my favorite scenes because, and I don't, did they even cut during that?
No, it's just him.
It's
do
just
cut,
him
but it's him
flipping
going
out and throwing shit. And I'm like, oh God, knowing him, he probably just did that all in one take.
It was probably a whole day of just having, all right, today's Ice Cube's freak out day.
Yeah.
Everyone, stand back. Don't be afraid.
don't be afraid. He's
It's
just
so
Ice
goddamn
Cube's
funny.
coming in. Yeah.
In 22 Jump Street, my favorite moment is obviously there's so many good movies. Oh no. My favorite moment in 22 Jump Street is really hard to say because there's so many good moments.
The movie was great.
I think it's better than the first. What would you say?
Yeah. I think of the rare franchise moments, it was better than the first.
And it's scary because it's the same exact story,
Yeah.
just reversed. Where in the first movie, Jonah Hill was the nerd in high school, but then when they go back undercover, he's the popular one. He's in with the drug dealers where Channing Tatum was used to being popular. But now in college, Channing Tatum is really popular, and Jonah Hill is a poetry major. He's hooking up with the lieutenant's daughter, but that's basically it. He doesn't really have any friends, where Channing Tatum is thinking about leaving the force because of a football scholarship.
Yeah.
Where remember in the first movie, Jonah Hill was getting so wrapped up in being undercover because he was falling for Brie Larson that he was going to go to college with her. He was even filling out applications. That's where this whole idea of yin and yang comes from.
Yeah.
And I think it is a brilliantly clever way to do a sequel pairing movie, where each movie complements the other perfectly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more of like a compliment than a exact retelling,
Yeah.
I think.
Because
what
they
this
still
movie did
add in
right.
a different ending. But even then again, Ron Swanson comes in and he's explaining this time on the second time around. He says, yeah, for some reason it really worked the first time that we paired you up, so we thought we'd give you more money and do it again for a much bigger thing.
Yeah.
But then again, here's a case that's exactly like the first time. And then when they originally solved the case, he's on screen again saying, it was exactly like the first time. And it's clever, it's funny. But like you're saying, there was a difference where the ending is absurd. That spring break scene, that whole Diplo showing
Diplo's
up.
there.
I love it.
Diplo, yeah.
I love dumb characters. That's why these two are one of my favorite cinematic pairs ever.
Yeah.
Because they're just so lovable. You want to keep watching what they're going to say next, what they're going to do. Everything, it brings a smile to your face. And I know it's one of those movies where it could be halfway through, if you put it on, people would just watch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love the montage at the end, too, where they're just and they're like at 21, they're at like 50 Jump Street or whatever, and they're just
yeah. Okay,
undercover.
let's talk about the credits. Yeah. Where it's 23 Jump Street, medical school. Y'all going to dance class.
Yeah, y'all going to dance class.
And then it's like 23,000 or whatever, 25, 25.
You're going to spy
22,
school.
22, yeah, you going to, and then Return of Ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just so clever and so damn good. And of course, you had Ice Cube just narrating it all, which made it so much better, at least to me.
Yeah. I would see all those movies though.
Oh, absolutely.
That's kind of, I think that's the joke. It's making fun of how much we're willing to just throw money at that. But they're a good pair. Everyone who's behind these movies, I want to see more.
Yeah, and I think that's a good leadway into what Sony's been trying to do, having the crossover between the Jump Street series and Men in Black.
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, if you guys are caught up with recent movie news, Jonah Hill came out with a statement saying that he doesn't think it's going to happen. His reasoning is essentially, well, the Jump Street movies were set out to make fun of franchises and make fun of people just trying to throw movies at the same concept over and over. Wouldn't we just be doing that if we had a crossover with Men in Black? So he thinks it's just a little counterproductive.
No, people want this
But-
though.
Yeah, for the love of God, please do it. Please do it.
And it's something of its own nature because it's a crossover movie. You're also making fun of series. You can continue on. Now you can make fun of the franchise. 21 Jump Street is just making fun of action reboots, all of that. It's a great satire on the reboot culture we had. 22 Jump Street was a great commentary on sequels, how we're always wanting the bigger, the more explosive sequel to the original. And with a crossover movie, it would just make fun of how everyone wants crossovers now with franchises. Look at how everyone blew up about Spider-Man being in Civil War.
Yeah.
Would anyone have cared as much about Civil War if Spider-Man wasn't in it?
No,
No.
that was such a huge talking point.
It's a huge talking point. And you can make the satire joke there. I don't want to put words in Jonah Hill's mouth. I have no idea what his life is, but it just feels like he doesn't want to do these movies and is looking for an excuse to get out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like Channing Tatum would do this in a heartbeat.
in a heartbeat.
Like, he'd be like, yep, I'm on. But
Yeah, and that's why I love that one scene in the credits where Seth Rogen shows up at one point, acting like Jonah Hill. Channing Tatum's completely confused. He's like, "What happened?" He's like, "What do you mean? What? I've always looked this way." And then
he's back
Jonah
in the
Hill's
next
back.
one.
He's like, "No, they didn't offer me more money or anything." And it's like, that's perfect. Okay, I get that you made fun of the franchise idea in the credits
Yeah.
already, but do it. Come on. I think it would rejuvenate. I mean, Will Smith is big right now with Suicide Squad success.
quote unquote success.
They had a great opening weekend, which is all the execs care about. So Will Smith is like hot to do these things. It'd be so cool to see him. And, Tommy Lee Jones is still alive, as we saw with
kicking.
Jason Bourne. By the way, we will be covering Jason Bourne in the future. Don't worry. We'll have to talk
And two, I think he's coming from the mindset that we always have with franchises. Is, who's actually asking for this? The studio thinks it's going to be a cash cow, but who's really asking for this? But I think this is a movie people actually are asking for. People would love to
wanna
see
hear it.
this.
Yeah.
It's
I remember
not like
when the Sony leaks happened, like the Sony email leaks happened.
Yeah, people
and
freaked.
this was one of the emails. I wanted to see this immediately. And
it's not like Alice in Wonderland 2, where no one was knocking down doors to get that one made. But this one, I think, is actually something the fans would love to see.
it
And-
would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
To see those two
They
characters.
should
in
do
the
like
Men
a
in Black.
focus group or something. Get a poll.
The focus group is the internet. I don't think there's really one person saying, nope, don't want it. It's going to
Don't want
ruin
it."
my Men in Black. Now, then again, if you put Melissa McCarthy and Kristen
Wiig.
Wiig, Kristen Stewart, take your Kristen, take your pick. If you had them, no. I'm kidding. I don't want to get into this.
So that's a whole long road.
But yeah, is there anything you could really think of with the? I know we're cutting this a little short. It's just us talking about. Is there anything we didn't cover with the Jump Street series?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, these are two great comedy movies
Yeah.
that you should watch. They're perfect to show and like your friends or want to watch it. What am I saying? Am I trying to pitch this movie?
Yeah.
Movie?
Just give your
Yeah, I
thoughts.
know.
Like, do you like it? We're not getting paid to pitch this movie. You don't have to suck its dick.
In the end, it's a surprisingly fun movie.
Yeah.
I love watching it every time, and I mean, it's one of those comedy movies you can just throw on. When I was a kid, it was Tommy Boy or something like that.
Black Sheep.
Yeah, Black Sheep. Just put those movies on over and over
Yeah.
again. But this is over the top comedy
Yeah.
at its finest. That's why I'm loving movies more and more, because you get gems like this
Yeah.
when you're not expecting it.
Exactly. Just like with Sausage Party.
Yeah, just like with Sausage Party.
Bringing it full
I
circle.
won't say that Sausage Party was a great comedy film. It was good. I don't know if I would rewatch it a ton.
It's one of those things where
I think it's a one and done.
Yeah, maybe might put it on Netflix or something.
Yeah.
If I needed like a comedy movie, or if there was people over and you wanted some background noise. It's one of those movies.
And we also have to remember we were clouded by a little bit of PBR while watching this movie.
Yeah.
Which is never a bad thing while watching film. Everybody has their own thing. But yeah. So is there anything cool coming up this week in film news? What's coming out? Yeah, let's pause there. Let's talk about what's coming out. Moving on, let's go on to coming ups. Movie previews. Movies that are coming out this week. So, movies that are being released. We have Hell or High Water with Jeff Bridges and Chris Pine, which I've been hearing great things about. It's a bank robbery movie about two brothers. Their house is being foreclosed on by a bank, so they start robbing banks to kind of get back at them. Kind of sounds like a cliche movie. Written by the guy who wrote Sicario. And it is getting high praise. People are saying this is Chris Pine's one of his more breakout roles, where he's no longer he's not a real pretty boy in this. He's playing a very different character than just the I'm James T. Kirk, and I'm here to be handsome on this unstoppable train. That's from the movie Unstoppable. Anyway. So I'm actually looking real forward for that. I'm going to try and see if it's playing anywhere here in LA. That's the best part about living here. They play all the movies. Also released this week is Kubo and the Two Strings, which is being hailed as a masterpiece in stop motion animation, which I am a huge fan of. I love stop motion movies.
Yeah, I would be down to. I might pay to see that one.
100%?
Yeah.
Well, we'll pay to see all these, right, Kate? Because
we
don't want the cops to come and arrest us.
Well, I meant instead of choosing to stay home,
Right.
I will physically go out to. I will physically carve out some of my personal time and pay money to see this movie.
I'd be down to do that. Maybe we can see it this week.
Yeah,
It
as
looks-
opposed to War Dogs, where I'm not paying to go see that.
Which is also being released this week. We had the opportunity to go to the premiere tonight or record this podcast,
It wasn't the premiere.
and we were thinking about, it was just
It was an advanced screener.
We had the option to go see this movie tonight or record this podcast. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? We care about our listeners and not so much Miles Teller. So,
Really don't like Miles Teller.
well, we haven't seen Whiplash yet. I know everyone on the internet freak out. We should see it.
Maybe
Everyone
then you
loves
know
it.
what? Let's talk about some movies that we will see this week. Whiplash, let's add that to our list. Well, I think we're going to add Kubo to our list.
100%.
100%. We probably should see Whiplash now before the internet freaks out.
True. And I think we're going to have to do a little movie watching for next week's podcast.
Oh my God, Tyler. Do
Oh.
you think we can talk about the upcoming franchise?
I think we can. Episode 4.
Episode 4.
Drum roll.
Not A New Hope, though.
That's right. We're watching National Treasure, the series 1 and 2. Hopefully a third will come out. Maybe. I haven't really seen the second one.
I've actually never seen any of them. Our dog has seen the first one, apparently.
never seen National
but
Treasure?
I've never seen National Treasure.
Treasure?
No. Treasure.
Treasure?
Treasure.
Treasure.
Treasure, Philip.
Treasure. So I'm very excited to do that. And thanks again, everyone, for joining us here at, as always, we are your franchise friends. Tyler.
And Kate. And don't forget, if you ever have any questions or any comments or just general hate that you'd like to send our way,
Please leave it in the comments section.
or you can reach us on Twitter at Kate Strolls and
Ty Costal, which will also be linked at the bottom of this message. We are working on getting our podcast up and running on Apple's.
apples. We're going to put them on apples and we're going to send them out.
We are working on getting our podcast up and running on the more convenient channels of distribution. So stay tuned for that. As always, please subscribe. And on that note, we'll see you next week.
On Franchise Friends.
Franchise.